I'm at a breaking point, and I don't want to be. This is going to be a rather long story, but I just have so many things racing through my head, and I need to at least write them down. Any legitimate comments or advice would be great, but I appreciate the space to vent, if nothing else. I am a 47-year-old male. My wife is 45. This is my second marriage and her first. We have been together almost 8 years. March will be 8. We have always had a close relationship, but somewhat rocky always. For one, we are very similar. We are stubborn and quick to get offended, or feelings hurt, etc. Over time, we have found ways to limit that and have been much better in the last couple of years. Like any marriage, though, not perfect, but we do okay. We have learned small adaptations that work for us, and I do believe we truly love each other. One big thing that I can't find a solution for has been the fact that my wife is relatively unsexual. Not even sure if that is a word, but she just normally isn't that into it. I, on the other hand, really enjoy sex and need it to be part of any loving relationship I am in. This is where I should preface that my wife has admittedly never had an orgasm. Like, ever. She has tried toys, solo, with me, meditation, etc. Nothing works for her apparently. She told me this very early on, and I didn't give it much thought. I probably thought, oh, you just haven't been with the right man, etc. I told her I was okay with this, and it's something we could work on over time, but I don't need her, or even me really, to have an orgasm for making love with her to be fulfilling. It isn't about just the act of intercourse, but the entire ceremony of it that helps me feel and be connected to my person. This has never been a problem in previous relationships. Our relationship started out great in that regard. Like most do, I guess. But slowly, over time, certain small things started to fall off of the table, like the analogy of the slowly boiling frog. Frequency declined to once or twice a week. Now we are at about once every 2 weeks. That's okay. No more showers together. She gets cold and hates sharing the water. Okay, that sucks. Certain positions are too uncomfortable for her now. Okay. She has never been much of a kisser, but what if I initiated and insisted? She has an aversion to saliva, so she doesn't really like it. That's a big one. How do I not make out with my wife? Oral sex is maybe a once-a-year thing, sometimes less than that. She does not like me to give her oral either. Saliva. When we do have sex, she has to have every single blanket covering every part of her body. If I move any of them, even in just a natural way from movement, she gets really upset because it's cold. I have tried, at various times, to talk to her about this, and it usually ends up with her upset feeling pressured by me, and it tends to make things worse than better. I have tried to research and figure out the orgasm thing. I have bought toys that people claim are game changers. Orgasm. She usually just gets anxious and they never get touched. We did finally find one toy she enjoys, a small wand vibrator, and she uses it with me nearly every time. Gets her going, but no orgasm. I decided that I guess I just don't get those things anymore, and I love my wife, so I'll make do with what I do get. This brings me to where I am now. I know that sex for her is low priority. I accept that. But I do still like having occasional romantic stay and date nights. I don't bring them up often, once a month maybe, but more likely once every 2 months. I have bought fun little flirty games like a pretty tame talk, flirt, dare card game. When I got that I could feel her instant anxiety, it stayed in the drawer for months. I bought a relationship journal thing for bonding activities couples could do outside and inside the bedroom. Just made her angry and anxious. We talked through it, and she agreed to try the first one, which was honestly pretty silly, but sounded fun. Nerf dart gun game in the house. If you hit a piece of clothing, the person had to remove it. First one naked loses. The dart guns came in from Amazon and she lost it. Big fight that night. On my birthday this year she planned nothing. I'm okay with that. I typically plan pretty big elaborate stuff for her, so I guess I was thinking she may do something, but no. So I asked her, hey, since we have no plans, I would like for us to get a couple of bottles of wine and play the talk, flirt, dare game in the bedroom after the little one goes to bed. She reluctantly agreed. I told her we can pass twice on anything we are uncomfortable with. I even went through the cards and removed ones I knew she wouldn't, or I wouldn't, like. We poured some wine and it was so awesome. She loved it. I loved it. We ended up playing for hours. Most of the things were pretty tame, but we both learned a ton of things about each other, and then ended up having great sex afterwards. We both agreed it would be fun to do again. This past week, I had a job interview that went well. I texted her and told her I was going to stop at Total Wine and get a nice Cabernet, her favorite, and some snacks, and maybe we could have another game night. She didn't reply until hours later and said maybe not today. She had a long day and was feeling overwhelmed. I said okay, sure. Let's see how the evening goes and we can decide later. That evening, she saw the cards out on the bed and said not tonight. I said no problem. Maybe tomorrow? She said yes, let's do it tomorrow. Cool. Tomorrow was yesterday, and I could tell she was anxious about it all day. She does this thing when she doesn't want to do something where she constantly negs it. We put the kid to bed and I was in the kitchen preparing some cheeses and meats and she said, I'm not hungry, why are you making those? I just smiled and said I'm not hungry either, but they will probably be a nice snack later. Before I finished the sentence, she said, look, we can cuddle, her word for fuck, but she wasn't into playing the game. I said, okay, well, I'll pass. I have told her ages ago that I am kind of past the point of getting a sympathy fuck. I put all the food back in the fridge, grabbed the laptop, and went to the bedroom to watch some YouTube. I came out to try and talk to her and explain what I was feeling. I told her I truly didn't understand why she was always so adverse to being flirty or romantic with her husband. If I even think of bringing up any flirty situation where we can enjoy each other in that way, it's instant anxiety for her, almost like it's the last thing she wants to do. I told her that I know she loves me, but these kind of things make me feel like it's something about me, because I personally can't understand how someone who loves another would be this opposed to these things at such a consistent rate. She told me she thought things were great. We have sex, she has been more into it, etc. Which is somewhat true. But her idea of good sex is I text her, hey, can we have some cuddle time tonight? She replies with a thumbs up. That night comes. I come down from putting the kid to bed. She's in bed with the toy. I climb in behind her and we have lazy spoon sex until I come, and then that's it, back to watching TV. That is the extent of our sex life 95% of the time. I tried to summarize that having some connection time is important for me in a relationship. I don't need it every day, but once a month is about the least I can do. That is why I try and put an effort to find things she likes, the Cabernet, or research games that we can play so it's more about bonding than just sex. I poured it all out for her the best I could. Her response was, so what I'm hearing you say is if you plan something, I should do it no matter what because it's important to you. Sounds pretty selfish. I just felt so defeated and deflated. I knew at that point, this was never going to change. I tried to talk through it, but at this point I just felt angry and resentful, so I stopped, told her we should be done. She said thank God, and flipped on one of her effing housewife shows. I grabbed the bottle of wine and meat plate I made and went to the bedroom by myself, sat on Google and looked divorce stuff online. She did come in about 30 minutes later and sort of apologize. Told me she has been stressed out and just wasn't feeling into the date night. Said she loved me and gave me a peck. I said okay, thanks for telling me. And she left back to the couch. I don't want to divorce her. I love her. We have a 5-year-old. But this feels like one of those things that is never going to change. Either I just concede this and know that I'll never have the romantic side of a marriage again, or I leave, or I cheat. All of it sounds terrible, and I don't know what to do.